Well, I hope the fact me posting this video doesn't overwhelm anybody. And the jokes will only get worse and worse from here. Guys, it's high time I do another retro series, and since I had so much fun looking back at all 4 Kung Fu Panda movies, let's look at every single movie in the Shrek universe that I haven't covered yet, starting with the original from 2001, and the movie that I'm sure has influenced so many people, so many comedians, so many animators out there. This was the very first movie to win the Best Animated Feature Oscar in 2001. And this, in my opinion, is the movie that put Jeff Katzenberg and Dreamworks on the map many years ago. So once upon a time in a faraway swamp, as if you haven't heard this one before, there lived an ogre named Shrek, voiced here by Mike Myers, whose precious solitude is suddenly shattered by an invasion of annoying fairy tale creatures. Which all ends up with a quote that will live in meme infamy.
Huh? What are you doing in my swamp?
See, all these creatures, Pinocchio, the 3 little pigs, Snow White, and so forth, were all banished from their kingdom by the evil Lord Farquaad, played by John Lithgow. Determined to save their home, and not to mention his, Shrek cuts a deal with Farquaad and sets out to rescue the lovely Princess Fiona, voiced by Cameron Diaz, to be Farquaad's bride. But rescuing the princess may be a small task compared to her deep, dark secret. Which, spoiler alert, she turns into an ogre herself every sunset. And this leads to a huge plot of misunderstandings, romance. It's a very Shakespearean-level comedy here. And no, did I mention that Shrek is accompanied by Donkey, voiced by the one and only Eddie Murphy? Like, I can't even begin to tell you how much this movie influenced me. See, when this movie was out on DVD, because I was too young to go and witness this in the theaters back in 2001, but once that DVD came out and once my parents got it for me, that thing was on repeat, man. So much so that I would actually fall asleep with Shrek playing in the background, and then I would wake up in the morning and you would get the main menu playing on a loop. And you'd have that Robin Hood fight music in the background and Donkey just constantly jumping up. Oh, pick me! Oh, pick me! Oh, me! I don't know how I slept through that for 6 straight hours every night. But enough anecdotes, guys. Everything about this original Shrek movie screams fun to me. And more importantly, funny. Every time this movie tries to throw a joke at you, 9 times out of 10, that joke will snap, crackle, and pop. And the thing that I really respect about this movie above all else, this has got no qualms about being incredibly dark and vulgar. Which honestly makes me wonder why my parents even allowed me to watch this when I was 5 years old. Cause man, they have so many curse words thrown in here. Parfaits may be the most delicious thing on this damn planet. Well, I have to save my ass. I mean, yeah, it's PG. Obviously, they're not going to throw F-bombs in there, but it's shocking, honestly, looking back on it. And I feel like, to me, this original Shrek movie is a celebration of what makes comedy so great. I mean, you got it all. You got the satirical comedy with all these Brothers Grimm characters coming into the fold. My favorite of which is the gingerbread man in this original movie. His whole sequence with Lord Farquaad in this is just so freaking funny. And might I mention, John Lithgow as Farquaad, I don't really think gets enough credit. He is very funny in this. I think Farquaad himself is animated so wonderfully. And it's so funny the fact that you have this villain who thinks he's so intimidating, but he's so diminutive in stature. People like Farquaad really do come in short supply. I would know, seeing as how I've played this bloke on stage before. Yeah, that thing did a number on my knees. But speaking of the animation, everything is just so crisp and colorful, and the fast pace of the animation, especially as it goes with the physical comedy and the slapstick. Like I said, this is the movie that probably put Dreamworks on the map in terms of the studio sense. And it's not hard to see why. It's a very colorful movie. It's a very energetically animated movie looking back on it. Because computer animation wasn't really the go-to format in 2001. It was Dreamworks and Pixar that were really popularizing it. But I think this original Shrek movie and its successor, which we'll be talking about soon, yeah, these were the benchmarks, I think. And speaking of the slapstick, I freaking love a bit of it. I cannot tell you how many times as a kid I would rewind to the beginning of the wrestling sequence and I would just eat that up. Chair! Get him the chair! Oh, tag me! Tag me! And you know, like, the soundtrack choices in this are great. Like, I love me some Smash Mouth coming from the Bay Area. But yeah, hearing Joan Jett and Bad Reputation during that wrestling sequence, it just like, yeah, give me more of that. And you know, it's like, I'm always waiting for Ronda Rousey to come out nowadays, and there's no Ronda Rousey. So I don't know if the editors just hit the wrong button or if like Ronda Rousey just missed her cue or she forgot to come out. But yeah, kind of confusing. But yeah, the satirical comedy, the dark comedy, the physical comedy, everything is so there. How are the characters? I honestly love every single one of our leads here. Shrek as a lead character being this snarky hermit is a lot of fun, and that character design has grown to be so iconic in the meme lore. But even just putting all the jokes aside about Shrek, and like, it's all ogre now, and this is my swamp, and whatever seductive terms you want to use as Shrek, as creepy as that is. Like, this is just a really fun character here. Mike Myers does such a great job here. I love the fact that he approached this almost like Jack Haley approached the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz way back when. Because he's reading all this dialogue as if he's reading his kids a bedtime story. And I don't know how a Scottish accent creeped out of there, but alas, here we are. And now Shrek is Scottish. And I think Mike Myers did a really good job. Now, if my research is correct, and if my memory serves me right, Dreamworks originally cast the late Chris Farley to voice Shrek, and may the man rest in peace. He passed away prematurely. I know he probably would have done wonders with this character as well. All due respect to Farley, though, in hindsight, I can't envision anybody other than Mike Myers voicing this role now. Just because with him as an actor and that character design, putting those together, that's a match made in heaven, man. And speaking of, let's talk about Eddie Murphy as Donkey. This guy just cracks me up all the time. Even though a lot of his jokes don't necessarily land now the way I want to, like the waffles line still doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, I just love the discussions that he and Shrek have. And a lot of people might find that jarring. If they've never seen Shrek before, they might be expecting just this really dark Brothers Grimm satire. But a good chunk of this movie is a buddy journey with Shrek and Donkey together. And I think Myers and Murphy display wonderful chemistry, with Myers growing so increasingly annoyed at Murphy's antics. The scene where Shrek is trying to basically explain how complex he is by comparing himself to an onion. Ogres are like onions because they have layers. Which honestly, as a kid, made me think, how does an ogre's body work? Like, what's the anatomy of an ogre if they're actually made of layers just like an onion is? The things that I think about. And God, when they cross the bridge to get to the castle, past the boiling lake of lava and the rickety bridge, which is terrifying. Whatever you do, do not put my girlfriend on that bridge. Or any bridge, for that matter. Love you. I just can't help but laugh at the smile that Shrek has on his face as he's rocking the bridge back and forth to get Donkey to cross. And you come across two key points of Shrek once you do get inside the castle. First of all, this dragon. Great design on this dragon. It looks very intimidating once you come across it. And the direction once the dragon is actually revealed and the eye just opens and it's inside a window. It's so good. This is also, of course, where you meet Princess Fiona, voiced by Cameron Diaz, and she's wonderful in this as well. She brings so much energy and spunk to this. And Fiona is not just your damsel in distress. She's not the boring damsel in distress. No, she's just as crude as Shrek is. And that leads them to build a rapport with one another. God, the fact that they're blowing up frogs and snakes in the forest and actually making balloon animals out of them, literally? God, more! I want more darkness! Now, I will admit, here's the thing. I'm gonna reveal it now, and the age-old question of which Shrek movie do you prefer, this movie or the sequel? I'm gonna say the sequel, and I'll get into more details about why that is once I review Shrek 2. The thing with Shrek 1 that I feel like holds it back from being better than its successor is that I feel like it falls too deep into the cliche trap once you get into the third act. Because yeah, you do have the Hallelujah song and the misunderstanding montage, which was all too common in romantic comedies. But if you want to talk about flaws with this movie, that's the only real big one that I can think of. I love Shrek. I always have. I always will. This is a series that will hold a special place in my heart, and I can't wait to talk about the rest of it with you guys. There's no denying that Dreamworks probably would not be in the position that it's in right now without Shrek being as successful as it was. So with that in mind, I'm going to give the original Shrek an A. It's so exciting that I finally have a good reason to talk about these with you guys. Because up next is what I definitely feel like is the best Shrek movie of the bunch in Shrek 2. And this is the reason why I'm doing this playlist. That movie turns 20 years old this year. God damn, I feel old. Well, let me know what you think of this original Shrek down in the comments. Let me know what your favorite jokes are from this movie. Let me know what your childhood memories are with this, if you grew up with it. Because I love discussing all things in movies and in the entertainment world. This is a great community to join if you guys are into discussing all those fun topics. So do consider subscribing today and tap on that thumbs up. That would be a huge help. I hope you guys have a very happy Easter. I can't wait to delve into the new releases as we get through the month of April and deeper into spring season. Blockbuster season is coming up, guys, and there's a lot of big ones. Y'all are the best. Thank you so much again for your continued support. And with all that being said, Back Talk, commence.